Gentlemen, hello. Alrighty, let's do it. Week 6 recap, Week 7 preview. I'm your commissioner, coming at you hot with a hot one. A couple of hot boys on this Wednesday, October 20th. And without further ado, let's break down the exciting week of action from Week 6. Now, I'll start it off because I was taking on the Baltimore Bentists. They were on a winning streak. A couple of teams with the same record. I think we were both 3-2. I ended up beating Ben 132 to 122. A nice clean 10-point victory for ya boy. That was fueled by Jonathan Taylor, the running back for the Colts, 28 points. Kyler Murray had 25. I really had a huge day from the Bills kicker, Ryan Bass, I want to say his name is. I don't know his first name. Not Randall Bass. Ryan Bass. Something Bass. But shout out Bills Mafia for a big performance by their kicker with a nice Monday night win. You always love to see that. I improved to 4-2 on the season. Ben drops to 3-3. Next up, we had Ya Diggs, Matt Barbaccia taking on Andrew's disbarment, Evan Homewater. Now, in a surprising upset, this might be the surprise of the week. Ya Diggs upset Evan 129.6 to 72.3. Now, Botch, solid performance, buddy. 129 is a very admirable score. Aaron Rodgers gave him 23 points. Dalvin Cook gave him 21 points. Cooper Kupp gave him 29 points at the expense of the New York Giants. Brutal. His kicker, Harrison Butker of the Chiefs, gave him 9. Solid performance by the Packers defense. And an all-around great day for Matthews' team outside of Keenan Allen and Kareem Hunt's injury. Now for Evan, he left in Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was proclaimed out, I think, pretty early on last week. So that's a little flag there. And Damian Williams got 0. So 2 zeros in your lineup, partnered with -4 points by the Patriots defense and a 3-point performance by Mike Williams, the Chargers wide receiver, all packaged together for why Evan received his second loss of the year, dropping to 4-2. Botch improves to 2-4. Now, Evan's lost poop veneer, Andrew Hansen, was taking on Sebastian Brogan. Seb beat Andrew pretty comfortably, 114 to 84. Andrew had Tom Brady and the Cardinals defense giving him his high scores with 14 and 17 points respectively, whereas Sebastian had CeeDee Lamb, who dropped 31.6 against the Patriots, and Josh Allen, who dropped 28 points. Seb improves to 3-3. Andrew drops to 1-5 on the year. Now, I don't know why I continue to doubt the man. It's seemingly only fueling his rage and his reign of terror against the rest of the league. Captain Dan's Kiwi Scallywag Adventure beat Bird Gang Hunter Mitchell 121 to 79.8. Now, Hunter's team, they did not show up whatsoever. 79.8 from a team that's 4-2. Come on, you gotta do better than that, Hunter's team. I'm looking at you, DJ Moore, only 8 points. I'm looking at you, Tyler Lockett, only 4.5 points. I told him not to play Devontae Booker, the Giants running back. And Miles Sanders, disappointing, as well as Lamar Jackson, only 11 points. Now, Dan had Jalen Hurts, 24 points. Dan had Darrell Henderson from the Rams, 23 points. Dan had Stephon Diggs, 19 points. He was looking to trade Chris Godwin. He still might be. Seemingly wide receiver 1. Chris Godwin's not the wide receiver 1 of the Bucs. Hate to spoil that for you, Dan. It's Mike Evans. Doy, or it's Gronk. Duh. But doesn't mean Chris Godwin doesn't bring decent value. I still wouldn't trade him if you paid me to. But Dan also had Kirk Cousins sitting on the bench with 27 points. He had Chuba Hubbard, 13 points on the bench, and Darryl Mooney from the Bears, 13 points on the bench. Henry Ruggs on the bench with 17 points. So Dan had a pretty nice performance despite not having his best players in the mix. He improves to 6-0. Hunter drops to 4-2. Dome in the Dome, Boomer Dangle taking on Bills Mafia. Boomer was leading for most of the weekend or most of Sunday until Nino's Bills Mafia came rolling on through and edged him out 127.4 to 116.2. Matthew Stafford, 25 for Nino. 34 points from Derrick Henry for Nino. 19 points from DeAndre Hopkins for Nino. 22 points for Darren Williams, that Chiefs running back who is filling in for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So big day for Nino in a couple key spots. Jamar Chase gave him 11. That's not that exciting. Myles Gaskin only gave him 2 points, but where Boomer went wrong was his production from his wide receivers. Justin Jefferson gave him 10 points. Amari Cooper gave him 8 points. Dawson Knox got hurt, only gave him 6 points. But other than that, I mean, a decent showing for Boomer. His quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater, 3 interceptions against the Raiders, costing them the game. That really shot him in the foot. I would love to know what Teddy would have had if he had not thrown those 3 interceptions. And then if Justin Jefferson or Amari Cooper find the end zone, or Dawson Knox find the end zone, I believe Boomer has a much better showing. Nino improves to 4-2. Boomer drops to 1-5. Last but not least, Greg Spry, Hunter's Volvo, taking on Kareem Pie, Brent Domble. Greg edged out Brent 127.2 to 76. Greg's big scores. He said he was hitching his wagon to Trevor Lawrence. Trevor gave him 15 points in the London game, the first game of Sunday. Leonard Fournette gave him 27 points. Noah Fant gave him 20 points. Adam Thielen gave him 24 points. So a decent overall day for Greg, honestly. Where Brent went wrong was 0 points from the Bills' defense. That's a tough showing. Christian McCaffrey's still hurt. He sat Odell Beckham. That's just a reflection of how bad Odell is. And we're waiting for Derek Montgomery to be back and healthy in action. Zach Moss didn't give him very much. And just really no real production outside of Justin Tucker. Alex Collins, the running back, actually, for the Seahawks, had a pretty good day with 16 points. But tough showing for Brent. Both teams are now 2-4 on the year. So let's go to the standings for a quick run through. Number 1, sitting up on his little perch, Captain Dan, Daniel Fabi, 6-0, perfect on the year. 4 teams tied in second place at 4-2. Commissioner Jim, Bills Mafia, Andrews Disbarment, and Bird Gang. So me, Nino, Evan, and Hunter are all tied at 4-2. I have the advantage in the league with the most points scored with 711. Nino has 703. We are the only 2 teams that have cracked the 700 mark. A lot of showings in the 70 points last week. That's, I think, what brought some teams back down to reality. 2 teams tied in 6th place at 3-3, Baltimore Bentis and Sebastian Brogan. Ben has a slight point advantage there. 3 teams tied in 8th place, Ya Diggs, Matthew Barbaccia, Hunter's Volvo, Greg Spry, Kareem Pie, Brent Domble, all sitting at 2-4. And then the New York Giants of our Fantasy Football League sitting at 1-5, tied for last place, Andrew Hansen and Boomer Dangle. If the playoffs were to start today, your 1 seed, Dan Fabi, taking on your 8 seed, Matt Barbaccia. Your 2 seed, Commissioner Jim. Oh my God, look at me in the 2 seed. Taking on the 7 seed, Sebastian Brogan. 3 seed, Nino Di Pasquale. Taking on 6 seed, Baltimore Bentis, Ben Levinson. And then your 4-5 matchup would be Evan, the 4 seed, taking on the 5 seed, Hunter. Moving right along, let's get into the Week 7 matchups. I am taking on Hunter's Volvo, Greg Spry. Like I said, I'm 4-2, tied for second place. Taking on 2-4, Greg Spry. I'm projected to beat him 119 to 75. Couple keys to victory here. Bye weeks, boys. Bye weeks are coming, and they're coming quick, and they're coming up plenty. So be sure to monitor your lineup, see when your players have a bye for. Right now, I'm projected pretty comfortably to beat him because Trevor Lawrence is on a bye and he has to find another quarterback. And Russell Wilson is still hurt, and he's sitting on his bench. So be curious to see how Greg substitutes in for Adam Thielen, who's also on a bye week, and for Trevor Lawrence. But the rest of his lineup is pretty solid. Noah Fant, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Leonard Fournette, and Antonio Gibson. All solid options for Greg. I'm just hoping that mine are more solid. Sorry, buddy. Moving on, Evan Homewater 4-2 taking on Sebastian Brogan. That is a true rivalry. Let's see. Neither of these two have touched their lineups so far, but I feel like a couple boys were active in the waiver wire, which is why they are empty. Right now, Evan has his kicker on a bye, his second wide receiver on a bye, and his flex is on a bye. And Nick Chubb, you got to take him out. He's not playing Thursday night game. Please listen to this episode so that you don't just give Sebastian a win. Now, Seb doesn't have a quarterback. Interesting. Very interesting, actually. Neither of these guys have set their lineups yet. Pretty tough to run through it. But I like Evan in that matchup to improve to 5-2. Bird Gang, Hunter Mitchell taking on Diggs. Matthew Barbaccia. Botch has not set his lineup. He's got an empty RB2 slot. He's got Ronald Jones II in his first running back slot. He's got an empty wide receiver 2 slot. Dalvin Cook's on a bye. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is hurt. Keenan Allen's on a bye. Kareem Hunt is hurt. Baker Mayfield's out. Holy shit. Botch, I am sorry, man. That is an absolutely brutal week because the bye week forces people to drop players they've been stashing on their bench so that they can play players that are actually available and can go into their lineups. And so Botch is at a bit of a imbalance where he has to drop more players than he might like so that he can field a full team, but the value might skew worse just for the 1 week. So what do? Do you take the loss but hang on to your players? Or do you drop them if they're injured or on a bye week so that you can have a full lineup? These are the questions that a competing team might ask. Botch is at 2-4. He's still in the playoffs as of today, so he should not just chalk up a loss, especially to a team like Hunter. But Hunter has a very formidable lineup despite the bye weeks. Really, it only affects Alexander Madison. And I like Hunter to improve to 5-2 in that matchup. Next up, Baltimore Bentis taking on Andrew Hansen. Lev is favored here, 106 to 85. Again, the bye weeks. Austin Eckler for Andrew is on a bye. That's his RB1. Lev has already made his lineup adjustment, so I think 106 is his number to beat. He's got Najee Harris and Chase Claypool on a bye. Stashing J.D. McKissic on your bench, interesting move. I would play him. I've heard rumors that Antonio Gibson's not going to have a big week. Andrew, put in Michael Carter Jr., please, and also put in Calvin Ridley if he is back with the team. Both of those guys should have decent days. I like Lev, though, in that matchup. Second to last, the biggest rivalry game of the week, Bills Mafia Nino Di Pasquale taking on Captain Dan's Kiwi Scallywags, Daniel Fabi. 4-2 taking on 6-0. This is your marquee matchup of the weekend. Now, Nino is favored at the moment, 121 to 119. Looking through the rosters and the matchups here, it very much could be a stalemate. The talent is about net even there, and the benches, there's not that many better options sitting on the bench here. Julio Jones left the game early on Monday night. I can't see him playing. Myles Gaskin, after he did you dirty with just 2 points, can't see him playing. And Nyheim Hines of the Colts does not warrant a starting spot for Dan. Stephon Diggs is on a bye. Henry Ruggs did have a nice showing last week, but is he better than any of the alternative options? No, not in my opinion. Boy. I've been picking against Dan for 3 weeks now. Do I continue to do it? I know he's fast-forwarding just to this moment where I make my pick, and I seal his fate forever. Fuck it. I like Nino to improve to 5-2. Dan to get his first loss of the year. Let's go, Nino! Whoa, whoa! Let's go. Last but not least, Kareem Pie, Brent Domble, 2-4, taking on Dome in the Dome, Boomer Dangle, 1-5. This is like the Giants taking on the Eagles here. This is an ugly game. Right now, the projection is Boomer to win 74 to 65. Golly, I don't like that whatsoever. Brent has to find a quarterback to replace Justin Herbert. Boomer has to put in a running back to replace Zeke and Deontay Johnson. So a lot of bye weeks here. A lot of bye weeks. Going to be an ugly score. I like Boomer in this game to get his second win of the year and Brent to fall to 2-5. All right, guys. So without further ado, this was your commissioner. A little reminder, Thursday night game this week is the Denver Broncos taking on the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield is out with a torn labrum. Not playing Thursday night. No Odell Beckham. No Nick Chubb. No Kareem Hunt. The Browns are going to get spanked. Broncos have a pretty solid defense coming off a bad loss to the Raiders last weekend. I like the Broncos. Hammer that if you're gambling. And gentlemen, this has been your commissioner. Another week coming at you hot, coming at you cold, coming at you in all different temperatures. Love you all. Miss you all. Namaste.